I feel like I should start having like crazy Daenerys braids or something when we do this.
It takes some hours to do that, though. Hey everybody, welcome to our Game of Thrones recap for episode 2, Stormborn. My name's Jordan.
And I'm Danielle.
We're going to break down what we saw and what we thought of the episode and what might be to come in tomorrow, or next week's episode.
And if there's any more clues that Varys is a merman. Because that's the whole key to the series.
Well, Daenerys doesn't trust him. That's one thing. I mean, I don't trust a merman.
It's true, and that's where we start. We start with Daenerys being suspicious of Varys.
Yes, and for pretty good reason, I think. She's fairly justified, and I'm not 100% I believe Varys, because this is a guy who, probably more than anyone on the show, lies. That's, his trade is lies.
Well, and I think it's hard to know, too, because his storyline is a lot different than in the books, so we don't have a good compass for his behavior.
I threw this out there as kind of a goofy idea originally, but I'm not 100% that Varys is only one person.
Oh, I don't think I've heard this idea from you.
I think he might. I don't know. It seems like there's too many. I mean, maybe I know that's his whole thing, is that he's everywhere and nowhere all at once.
Because he's swimming.
Yes, but
merman.
I don't know. Something weird is going on with him, and Daenerys sees it. And this guy never tells the truth, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's playing some other game.
Yeah, we just don't know what that game would be. There's lots of theories around Varys, just besides the merman one.
Yes.
There is that he's a secret Targaryen or a Blackfire.
Yes.
And that the reason he's bald is because he shaves it so that you can't see that he has the signature Targaryen hair. But he, in the show at least, he sticks by this idea of like he's there for the people. And I thought that was a good scene of him actually standing up to her and being like, speaking very frankly and I mean, obviously because she called him out and put him in that place, not like he did that on his own, but he rarely speaks unless he needs to sow doubt or save himself. So he more is a silent observer if he doesn't need to talk. But this also gave hints to another theory out there that she's becoming a mad queen. When she says, "I'll burn you alive," that's very reminiscent of what her father did.
Well, and I really like, too, that immediately after this scene, after she talks to Melisandre and learns about Jon Snow, and she's threatened to burn Varys alive, we cut to Winterfell, where Jon is going to go meet with her, and they're all like, "No, remember what her dad did to, they aren't your father or your grandfather.
Your family line in general. Your uncles and grandfather."
Yeah, but they immediately cut to that because she wants him to come bend the knee, which would also be, he's just named the king of the north, the king.
Right.
And but now she wants him to give that up.
Yeah, but I don't know if she really does or not either, because Yara is going to get to be the queen of her area, so she said they can ask.
True.
So she's shown that she can be compromising. I think she's in a place right now where she feels like she needs to exert her power.
Yes.
And that is very Mad Queen-esque.
And yes, I did feel like, I don't remember if it was in this part or later. Oh no, that's later on. Never mind. We'll get to that.
All right. So Melisandre shows up now.
Yes. She tells him about Jon Snow.
And the prophecy. About the prince or princess.
Yeah. And God, that line was so lame, I thought, when Missandei was like, "Actually, my name is Exposition." I thought that was so stupid. I get it that they need to get this point across that Daenerys might be the chosen one too. Right. But it was very clunky, I felt like, how they did it. There's a lot of other ways they could have easily done that.
Yeah, I just think Daenerys in this episode came off weird.
Well,
I think,
like I said, I think
she doesn't know what to do with herself right now.
Yeah.
So who is your theory on who Azor Ahai is?
Up until recently, I was thinking it was going to be Jaime. Now I kind of feel like it's going to be the Hound.
Yeah, when you think about the what you need to be that. I mean, Daenerys, Jon are obvious. although George R.R. Martin often doesn't do what's obvious.
Yeah.
And the Hound does fit those things as well.
And the Hound is going through, just like Jaime did, kind of a redemptive arc.
Mm-hmm.
The Hound is almost done with his. Like, he only needs to do a couple more things to truly have served his purpose.
Yeah.
And unless they're going to, like, kill him off, it would make sense if he wound up being the savior at the end. The person who was terrible and then kind of rebuilt themselves.
Yeah. Of course, we do have Jon Snow as very much like the Jesus figure in general. So I think I agree with the Hound idea, but then I would think Jon. I don't really think it's going to be Daenerys, and I think she's the most obvious one. Like actually has the dragons and that kind of stuff. But I think Jon is a better candidate for it above Dany. Speaking of Jon, that's where we go to next.
Yeah, we go to Winterfell, and like we just kind of talked about, the council is not sure.
He gets this letter from Tyrion.
But this is a really interesting part with Tyrion, because Sansa and Jon both have experience with Tyrion, and they both trust him, whereas no one else in the world really does.
They don't necessarily say they trust him. They recognize that he has good character.
Yes.
So, that he is not like the other Lannisters, so they have a certain respect for him.
And Sansa, though, says she does trust him, but she doesn't trust the note. So she's
right, but he makes a little code in there for Jon to know it's really him.
But she's more worried that maybe they're using Tyrion to lure Jon there, knowing that he would respond to that, because she's played the game. She's seen master manipulators like Cersei and Littlefinger and Ramsay, whereas Jon is just kind of like, I trust everyone.
I actually think, more than anything, I don't even think she's that worried about trusting them. I think she's just seen, when my family leaves Winterfell, they die.
True.
So, I don't care what these people are doing. Let's just stay here and survive. I think she's kind of in that realm. But then we jump over to Cersei, meeting with all of the lords that are left.
Including Sam's dad.
Yeah,
who, if you remember, was the world's most horrible person when we met him last season. We had, the most awkward dinner of all time.
And he's an awful parent, don't get me wrong, but he is a respectable warrior and leader.
He's the best. Yeah, he's one of the best military men that they have a chance to get.
Yeah, and very loyal in his history. So do you think he's going to be with the Lannisters or with?
It seemed like I don't know. It's tough to say because he is a man of honor, and it's clear that he really hates Cersei and he doesn't trust Jaime, who are the two people in charge, obviously. Right.
And his instincts are to be loyal to the Tyrells,
who have now joined up with Daenerys.
Right.
But he also doesn't want to join the Targaryens because he doesn't trust them.
But he was with the Targaryens against Robert's rebellion.
True. That's true.
So his history is to be on the side of the Targaryens, not the Lannisters, for sure. But he is also loyal to the crown. So I think he's going to have a little bit of a... I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of sits back and sees who's winning a bit and then joins in. Because
very Tywin Lannister move of him to do that.
I like when he talks about... Jaime calls him Rickon.
Yes.
Instead of Dickon.
Mm-hmm. And then he's like, oh, yeah, what's your name again? Yeah, it's very Jaime Lannister, holier than thou.
But this episode was a lot of tying back to, history and history repeating itself. And Rickon was also one of the Starks that got killed by the Targaryens. So, they're kind of...
No, Rickard.
Yeah,
but... Rickon was the one who got shot.
I know.
He didn't
but, close.
Yes.
Named after him, I assume.
Yes, most likely.
So they're just kind of reminding you of stuff that's happened, too.
Well, then after that, too, we jumped away from King's Landing, but then we came right back to it to see the Dragon Pit.
Yeah.
Which...
And is it the Dread? Aegon the Dread? No.
Yeah, that's Balerion the Dread.
Balerion the Dread.
Aegon Road. But I was kind of disappointed in the Dragon Pit, too, because Qyburn is like, we're working on something to kill dragons. And Qyburn... brought a headless person back to life.
Right, you think something magical.
And then he's like, those
arrow.
those things our guys used to shoot people? I made a bigger one. It's like, It would be like if he brought it down there. He's like, I made a 20-foot long sword, and we can just stab a dragon. Like, it was very
right. And they make a point of like, oh, you know, the dragon has been injured before, but like the dragon is a lot larger than it was at that point.
Yes,
and dragons are basically wearing armor.
Yeah,
so he has to hit
pierce a skull that's hundreds of years old. I'm sure that they're trying to make it so Cersei has a chance, because everyone thought when Daenerys gets here, she's got her Dothraki, she's got the Unsullied, she's got the dragons, she's got these master strategists and like Tyrion, but they need to give Cersei a fighting chance, and that's, I think, obviously what they're trying to do.
And in the history, we know that dragons have been killed by weapons like this, so it's not like totally out of the picture. It just has to be like the perfect shot. One, to hit them in the sky, but two, to hit them where it actually goes into their scales in a way that damages them and not just is reflected.
Yes.
So we'll see. Sam and Jorah.
We did get Sam and Jorah. Sam recognizes Jorah's name from his... he wants to help cure his grayscale. The Archmaester is not sure if he wants to, if it's possible even.
And as a Tarly, he might have learned, like, he is one of the most loyal people, so he might have gotten that from his family.
It's true.
Like, he is so loyal to Jon and Mormont, so, like, he's doing this out of... Not only does he want to cure and help people, but, like, you could tell it's because he has so much respect for his dad.
And...
Not Sam's dad.
And Lord Commander Mormont, too. I mean, obviously he didn't, like Sam, because not many people really like Sam. But he did give him a chance, and he gave him pretty much the best opportunity to succeed. So, and not many people have done that for Sam. So I think he does feel, even though it's not just loyal to the Night's Watch, I think it's like, this guy actually gave me a shot.
Right. Well, he was such a good Lord Commander because he knew he didn't have that many people. Let's make the most of everyone that we have.
Yes. So yeah, we're gonna get Jorah being cured of grayscale.
Yeah, we can. That happens.
Yeah.
So we find out that he has about 6 months before he loses his mind. They kind of give him a chance to kill himself.
He tells him, basically like, fall on your sword, man. Lily, you're fine. You don't need to bark.
And then much later in the episode, since that's just a short clip, we can kind of jump to that. Sam goes in to try to remove it. So he's really risking his own life. Mm-hmm. He's risking his chances of being there and being able to study if he gets caught. Do you think...
Lily, hush.
Do you think there'll be next steps to that? Will we get to see him using dragon skill to help cure him?
Well, that's the thing, too, is we know where the dragon glass is, and so he might have to smuggle Jorah over to Dragonstone, which is where Jon and Daenerys are going to be. So we might have a reunion of all those fun people.
And do you think he's going to get cured?
No, I don't.
I think he is.
I don't. I think they're going to be working on the cure, but I think he's going to die before we know if he's cured or not. Probably for Daenerys.
I think he's going to get cured, and because I think Sam is going to become like the best maester.
Well, and we get a very serious, more proof towards one of the big theories that Sam is actually writing the story, and he's sort of a surrogate for George R. R. Martin. When the Archmaester tells him, like, you need to have style. You need a snappy title, and so I would not be surprised if it turns out that Sam, in the world of Game of Thrones, writes Game of Thrones or A Song of Ice and Fire or whatever, something where, we've been reading a book in the world the whole time, something like that. They definitely hinted that that's kind of the idea.
So backtracking, we go to Dany.
Mm-hmm. The War Council.
Mm-hmm. We have Yara. We have all these women at the council, and then Tyrion, Grey Worm, and Varys. And you were making a point about...
I thought that was very fascinating. We have 4 women who had to essentially overcome the stereotypes about their gender in order to achieve... Not Olenna, I guess, but...
she just had to outlive everyone.
She basically is default at this point. But she was kind of the leader already.
Right.
Yeah.
But she was the oldest living.
And then we had Daenerys overcoming her brother and Khal Drogo. We had Yara overcoming the Iron Islands look at women, basically, and then we had Missandei, who was a slave and was freed by Daenerys. And then we have Tyrion, who's a dwarf.
Wait, we have Alara?
Ilaria, yes.
Ilaria, too, who murdered.
Yeah, who had to murder her way to the top, which I have no... How is she the leader of Dorne now? I don't understand how that works.
Because they're all her children there, so they follow her.
That's not really how it works.
I agree. They did a terrible job.
Yeah.
Everyone can agree.
That's why the end of this episode was fantastic. But yes, we have these 4 women. Then we have a dwarf who's cast out by his family and basically hated by the entire world. So an outsider
as well.
And then we have 2 eunuchs who are, that kind of, again, questioning that idea of traditional masculinity in Daenerys' little group of people. And yet she's got some brilliant minds, especially, everyone is like, let's go punch him. And her and Tyrion are really the only ones who say, we don't want to just butcher everyone.
Except she originally did want to say that. And she nods to him on the advice that he gave her when they were alone, of you don't want to be the queen of ashes. Speaking of George R.R. Martin, he's not a big believer in war.
Yes.
And so Tyrion, I think, is also his voice of like, hey, we can do this in a way that people can respect you and we don't kill a bunch of innocent people. But is it going to work or not?
Yeah, it brings us back to, Olenna is generally the smartest person in the room. And at the end, she and Daenerys have a little alone time where she's like, your plan is not going to work. Like, you're going to have to be a dragon.
But at the same time, Olenna's never been in battle herself.
True.
She's always been safe and
True.
She's kept herself safe. Keeping yourself safe and keeping people safe are not the same thing.
Very true.
So, if she wants to give advice for Dany to survive, sure, listen to Olenna. Tyrion has the best experience with actually, saving people, like he did in King's Landing before. So I say take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I'll be very interested to see what happens with that because, again, the end of the episode kind of screws up her plans. We also get this lovely little scene between Grey Worm and Missandei. If you were one of the people really hoping to see them hook up, then there you go. Lucky you. It happens. Grey Worm proves he's a generous lover, even without his parts.
What else? He doesn't have a whole lot he could offer.
But he does tell her, that he was never the strongest, he was never the smartest, but he wasn't afraid of anything, and he's worried because Missandei he calls her his weakness. And so now I might be changing my prediction for who's going to die, because I think now that they hooked up, Grey Worm is toast, unfortunately. I think he's in trouble.
Yeah, I was listening to their panel at Comic-Con, and they were asked about, and they both were like, we really hope that these two can have a future because this world is pretty bleak and they deserve to have a little happiness. So who knows what will happen.
They got a little happiness.
Yeah. I don't think that storyline is that interesting.
I don't either. So I wasn't that fascinated by it other than the fact that it was 2 attractive people getting naked on screen, so good for them.
Yeah, it was sweet. And,
but I do think Grey Worm's in trouble now.
Okay, Arya.
The return of Hot Pie.
That was great. I wrote really big letters. Hot Pie. Nice.
So did I. We get, and probably the best cut the show has ever done when they go from
the pus.
John cutting the scales off of Jorah and the pus coming out to
By John,
Hot
you
Pie.
mean Sam.
Sam.
The actor's name is John.
Yes. Cutting the scales off of Jorah to Hot Pie pouring slop into one of his hot pies.
No, it was like somebody scooping into the soup.
Yes. It was a very gross, moment. Similar to the poop and soup montage of last week.
But this was a big moment. This is when Arya finds out about Jon and the Boltons, all that. We weren't really sure what she knew. You thought maybe she would have heard about that already, but apparently not.
Yes.
And this is another pivotal moment for her arc and her story to say, am I going to go forward with this just murderous rage because I feel like I don't have anything to lose, or now, I have something to lose. There are people that I care about still around.
Well, and we're probably going to have to wait a while for the Arya-Jon reunion because she's probably going to get up there while Jon's still gone.
Yeah, but we might get a Bran Arya-Sansa reunion while Jon's gone.
The actual living Starks all reuniting. And I did see a very interesting idea that when she gets up to Winterfell,
she kills Littlefinger.
She's going to be the death of Littlefinger, possibly on Sansa's orders.
I 100% agree, and one of the key clues is when you've seen promo stuff with her in her Stark gear again, has the dagger.
The dagger that Littlefinger once owned that was used to attempt to kill.
Which I think
Bran.
is also telling in the fact that she's going to play some good fighting roles in the war against the dead, because that is Valyrian steel.
Yes.
So I think that's going to be her weapon, because Needle, unfortunately, is not Valyrian steel.
So then speaking of Jon Snow, we go back north. Jon gets a raven from Sam at the Citadel, and this is where he kind of decides he's going to go meet with Daenerys. He says, we need to have allies, and she's got dragonglass. We have to try this. Pretty much everyone's against it.
Yeah. But it's weird.
Even the little bear.
It's weird to me that, like, as soon as you said Sansa's in charge, like, everyone's like, oh, okay, I guess that's fine then. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, why are you so upset about this, but then you're fine as soon as you put somebody in charge that's a Stark? Like,
I think it's the idea that the Starks need to be the leaders in the North.
And I'm sure they'll be really happy when Bran gets back, too.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think that Jon, Sansa, Bran, and Arya working together would be an amazing team for the North. Like, this whole idea of, like, one ruler is kind of stupid when you have this team of people who offer different skills. So hopefully we get to see some of that in planning for fighting against the White Walkers, at least.
And hopefully when Bran, if and when, he surely will get there at some point. We did see him, like, in a wheelchair in one of the early trailers, and I doubt they have that ability.
No, it looks like at the...
At the wall?
No. At the tree in Winterfell.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They don't have the ability. They don't have the ability to make that kind of thing. I feel like at the wall, that would have to be like a castle smith.
Yeah, so I think he'll be back maybe this next episode.
And that could be really useful because as of right now, I'd say Sansa's biggest downfall is that she doesn't understand what a threat the White Walkers are, and maybe Bran could help convince her because maybe he could even show her.
And Arya doesn't know anything about what's going on.
Yes. Before we jumped out of Winterfell, we went down to the crypts where Jon is looking over probably Ned's grave.
Yeah, he's in front of Ned's, and then Lyanna's is like next to Ned's.
And Littlefinger,
he reminds him
through his teeth at him.
Yeah. He confirms that Ned's bones did come back, because that wasn't something, like, we knew that Ned's bones came back to Catelyn, but we didn't really see them come back to Winterfell because of all the timing of when Theon raided, we didn't really get a good picture of that. So it's good to know that his bones are actually there. So who knows, we might get him raised as a...
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun.
We might get all of that crypt raised.
Sean Bean comes back as a White Walker.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
I had them send the bones back myself. I think Littlefinger's signed his death warrant this week.
Yeah, but I agree that I think Arya is going to be the one that kills him.
Yeah, I think he signed it this week, basically telling Jon, like, hey, while you're gone, I'm going to hook up with your sister. And he was like... Well,
as soon as somebody finds out that he's behind their dad's death, like, he put the... Like, which Tyrion knows.
Arya knows.
She doesn't know. She wasn't there. She was with...
I think she has a pretty good idea, though.
I mean, she doesn't trust him a lot, but I don't know if she knows that he's the reason.
Possibly.
But if she does, that'd be great.
Varys knows, too.
Yeah, Varys knows, Tyrion knows.
Yeah. So when Jon goes down south, he might get that news. But yeah, he does say, touch my sister and I'll kill you myself.
Yeah.
I don't think Jon's even going to have the chance. I think Littlefinger's going to be dead before Jon comes back.
Yeah.
But he rides off south to see Daenerys. And we get a great reunion.
With Nymeria, I was so excited. I was like, jumping.
Yes. Arya met up. She got surrounded by a pack of wolves being led by her direwolf, who we haven't seen since like the 4th episode of the show.
Yeah, when it was a small dog.
Yeah, and she scared it off because it attacked King Joffrey.
To protect.
Prince Joffrey at the time, actually. But yes, it was protecting her.
I meant, like, she wanted to protect Nymeria.
Yes, and so Sansa's direwolf was killed instead of Arya's. But yeah, again, it kind of harked back to season 1, where she says, "Let's go back up to Winterfell," and the direwolf's basically like, "Nah."
Yeah, so it's but she says at the end, like, she looks sad and heartbroken for a second, but then she kind of smiles. She's like, "That's not you."
Yeah.
And I think that confused a lot of people, thinking like
that's not
she doesn't
Nymeria?
think it's Nymeria, but it actually mirrors. I think the first season,
Yes.
when she's sitting with her dad and he's like telling her all about how she could be this lady,
lovely lady in a frilly dress, and she says that's not.
She's like, that's not me. So the Starks are reflected in their direwolf. So she sees this free spirited, on her own path.
Yes.
Direwolf, not somebody who needs this companion, which is the same as her.
But I also think it's interesting that she recognizes that Nymeria has a pack, and Arya is going back now to find her pack. And if you remember the trailer from the beginning of the season was the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives. So hopefully Arya is recognizing that.
Yeah. So hopefully we get our little Stark pack.
Yeah. And then we get to my favorite part of the episode, even though it was a little heartbreaking, how it all turned out. But I think it's important that it shows Euron Greyjoy is not a joke. This guy, I mean, he kind of comes off as almost like a clownish buffoon, but in a fight, he's a scary dude.
Well, he's basically like the Joker.
Yeah, he's unpredictable. He's wants to blow stuff up. Yeah,
like he doesn't feel. We talked about Grey Worm like not having any weaknesses. Euron doesn't care. Like he you could kill him and he'll laugh. Like he doesn't have fear. He just is moving forward. So he is comical in that way because he's so extreme.
It was a cool battle. It was kind of tough to see, but that was kind of the point. It was supposed to be this kind of chaotic moment with fire and explosions, and that moment where he dropped the bow of the ship and he was like riding on it was
and just like screaming. They didn't even give him like some clever line. He just was screaming, which was way more appropriate.
And then we'll get to it, but his laugh at the very end was my absolute favorite part. That just Joker, like it wasn't like a triumphant laugh. It was like, woo, we're crazy now.
Like I'm just enjoying the ride. Yeah, way too much. So my question was did they had they already picked up the Dornish fleet? Have we killed off the Dornish fleet, or was that just the Greyjoy stuff with the Sand Snakes and stuff who had been at Dragonstone?
It made me believe that was the Greyjoy fleet on their way down to escort the Dornish fleet up. I don't think the Dornish fleet was destroyed.
Okay. Because that was my biggest question, because we really only saw one ship.
Yes.
We saw ships in the background,
but we saw the ship that Yara, the important players, were on.
Yeah.
Two of the Sand Snakes, Dunzo. The one with the whip and the one...
with the nene.
Yeah. Is that a medieval weapon? I've never heard of that one.
Yeah.
Like two of the
the one who throws like stars or whatever.
And the other one's probably dead. They didn't show her die. The one who
they took her. She said kill us now.
Oh,
and he
that's
said
right.
No.
Yeah.
So that was like her main girl for some reason.
Yes, and she had like a knife and she stabbed a dude in the crotch.
Yeah, that was the one that was flirting with Bronn, I believe.
Okay. That was the whip one, but whatever. The Sand Snakes are all the same, but two of them are dead now.
Yeah.
Ilaria is taken hostage, Yara is taken hostage, and it looks like in episode 3, Euron is bringing them back to King's Landing, and that is the prize that he was offering.
Not the horn, unfortunately.
Yes. And Theon.
Do you think he's going to survive being in the water there?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to Titanic Theon. He had very clear moment of, PTSD, remembering all the horrible things that had happened, seeing Ramsay Bolton kind of reflected in Euron Greyjoy.
Yeah. And you think about that, somebody who's like tortured, and so they're like cutting the tongues out of the people's mouths there. Like he's seeing... No, in the...
Oh, yeah.
His crew is cutting the tongues out of, like, the people around and ripping their... Like, they're disfiguring... Like, they're not just killing them, let alone... Like, they're going even a step further. So it's very triggering. He really hasn't been in a battle... since then.
Since he was captured.
So, like... I mean, it's not that surprising that he would be having PTSD with this. Like,
and what's he really going to do? I mean...
In reality, it was a smarter decision because...
Yeah, live to fight another day, hopefully be able to work up... he's really the only person who knows Euron left. Yeah. I mean, obviously Yara does, but she's captured. He's really the only person who can say, this is what we can do to
But
stop
the question
him.
is he going to feel too ashamed to even go and try to help? Because that's where he kind of struggles.
I'm not sure.
Shame.
Because
shame.
This could
shame.
This could have been his moment, and clearly he's not ready for that.
There's no way he would have survived that though.
Yeah,
like, he would have went after him, and even if he hurt Euron, his whole crew was still there.
Yes. Oh, I know. I'm not saying he should have done something different, but clearly Theon as a character is not ready yet for that. And yeah, that was the end of the episode, was Euron's attack, decimating his niece and nephew's fleet, and really dealing... I mean, Cersei looks like she's in a better position than Daenerys now.
I don't know better, but they're more equal now.
Much more equal. Clearly Euron's fleet is scary.
Yeah.
But
they also did a surprise attack. I mean, they had the things in their favor.
Yeah.
Now, neither of our bets for who's going to die next happened, so it was the Sand Snakes that died next. As far as named characters, the two daughters.
So for next week, is that who you think's who's going down?
So I believe I had said Beric Dondarrion.
Very good. I'm proud of you. Nice job.
I was not confident about that at all.
That's good. And I had said Littlefinger. Is that?
I think so.
I don't remember who I said.
So next episode,
I think Ellaria is going to die next episode. I don't think Cersei has any use for her, and I think she's going to say, "We're going to kill one of you."
You know what's going to happen? I think she's going to allow the Mountain to rape and murder her, and have her watch her murder her daughter, just like what happened to her to Oberyn's sister.
Wow. Okay, we're going to a dark place there.
Well, that's
Cersei's a dark
Game
person.
of Thrones.
Yeah, Cersei's a dark person.
I mean, you think she put the Mount sick? What's the word I'm looking for?
I have no idea. What are you talking about?
When you say sickum?
She's sicked. Yes.
She's sicked. That's such a weird word. She sicked the mountain on the nun lady.
You keep looking at me like thinking I'm going to fill in your thoughts here.
You know, the nun lady.
Yes.
So,
the shame woman. Yes.
Yeah. And we have to assume that he sexually abused her and physically abused her. Like that's kind of the shame idea of that. So I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't just want to kill people, she wants to torture them.
Yes. Cersei's last real joy is hurting the people who she feels like have hurt her.
And she killed her daughter.
Yes.
And that's the one thing.
Oh, that's very true, yeah. And she knows it was poison. And Jaime's not going to be super happy to see Ellaria either. So I think Ellaria is done for. Yeah,
I would agree that's likely to be this next episode. Now, what do you think is going to happen to Yara? I don't think they're going to kill. I think Yara is going to survive.
I don't know, because I know specifically Euron said he wanted to kill his niece and nephew.
Yeah. But he didn't try to kill Theon. Like, he could have tried harder to kill.
Yeah. But I think he wanted, that's a big thing. I think that's really the one thing that Euron kind of holds. I think he wants, it's a game to him, kind of like Ramsay.
Yeah.
Whereas since Theon ran away, he was like, whatever, like, you're not worth it.
Yeah. But
at least Yara fought him.
Right. I mean, he could have easily brought their heads as gifts, right? Yeah. So I think that she's smart enough that she has more game to play, I think, before she dies.
Yes.
So I definitely don't think she's going to die in the next episode.
No. But I think Ellaria and the other Sand Snake are probably done for.
I would agree. And then Littlefinger's still up for grabs as far as dying in the next episode. I think he might last. I think it'll be another. I don't think he's going to die this next episode.
Yeah, I don't think he'll die next episode. Because I think Arya's got to get back up north first, and they've got to learn about who and what he has done to hurt their family. And
then we went to the preview.
Yeah, the preview for the next episode. One of the most anticipated kind of meetups the show has ever had. Looks like it's going to happen next week, where Jon and Davos arrive at Dragonstone to meet with Daenerys.
There was photos leaked of Daenerys, Jorah, Davos, and Jon all there. But I saw an interview where Jon says that they filmed a lot of fake things. So, I'm curious if Jorah will be there too next episode.
It's possible. Maybe Jon writes Sam a letter and says, "Hey, we're going to Dragonstone. You need to come too." And that's an excuse for him to bring Jorah, so he could try that experimental.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure they have dragonglass at the Citadel, though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he already had that on his little tray when he came in.
True.
of medicines and stuff.
But other than that, what else do we see?
We see her looking at her dragons, so it's very possible she just sends her dragons over to just freak people out, even.
Yeah.
Because they're not that far away, right?
No, they're not.
And then we see Tyrion talking about how Cersei's going to be ready for them.
Yes, and we see Euron returning with a hero's welcome to King's Landing. The crowd is cheering for him, and he's loving life. He's not like the other Greyjoys. The Greyjoys are all kind of like dumpy and dour and blah, 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 and he is
living life.
Yeah, he's big and loud and over the top, and that's the kind of thing he needs and thrives on, it seems like.
I read about another theory. You want to hear it?
Sure.
That he is a warlock.
Well, in the books, there's a lot of nasty, weird magic stuff going on with him.
Yeah, and he had like captured warlocks to try to learn about them and took the same drugs that they did.
Yes.
So yeah.
And there's also the idea that he might be like sort of an avatar of the drowned god, because supposedly he's survived drowning several times. And so there's the idea that he might be kind of the chosen one of the Greyjoys' god, who we know is at odds with the Red God. So that could be setting up that big clash between, maybe Daenerys or Jon, whoever is the Red God's chosen one, and the drowned god. So
many interesting theories about the gods, but
yes.
Anyway, so yeah, it should be a good episode, I think.
Yeah, I think next one will be this one. There were a few moments in this one that didn't quite click with me, but it was, again, pretty good setup, and I think the third one's looking like it's going to be pretty big time.
Yeah.
So
hopefully Stark reunion.
Hopefully,
John and Dany meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, these are big things that people have been waiting for.
Since the mid-90s.
Yeah.
And when this book first came out, people have been
Euron and Cersei. So, like, for the longest time, he's been saying it started out, people were all together, and then they kind of spread out, and now we're coming back together. Yeah. And that's what we're really seeing, people coming back together. The world getting smaller again.
Yeah, the circle is really closing in and forcing the players to get together.
So we really have these three camps now.
Yeah, and they're coming towards a clash. Or an agreement.
Do you think Jon and Dany will come to an agreement?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it might be a tenuous one, but I think they might. I think they will.
I don't think it'll be as easy as, like, people have always thought. Like, oh, they're going to get together, they're going to save the world. Like, there's going to be some issues.
Yes. I do not believe they are both going to make it to the end of the show.
I think they're both going to make it through this season.
I think they'll make it through the season.
For sure.
Same with Tyrion.
Yeah.
Like, those three are like the faces of the show.
Yeah.
But I do not think the two of them will survive till the very end. Well, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Please like and comment and subscribe and tell us your theories and what you saw that maybe we missed.
And check out all of our other links and stuff.
Yeah, in the description we've got below our social media and all that stuff. You want to follow, post, and all that fun stuff. So check it out.
So yeah, and we'll see you next week for episode 3. There's only 7 episodes this season.
I know. It's coming to an end. Bye, guys.
Bye.